Okay, here we are, the blue-red Faeries matchup. Playing against Tron this time, and we won the roll here. See if we can get our opening hand up. So here we are, we've got Spellstutter Sprite, Scion of Una, Grim Lavamancer, Mana Lake, Island Mountain, and Tech Edge. Fairly decent hand. Can lead off with the Grim Lavamancer, pass the turn. Put drops in as mine, and a relic. Which is a bit of a pain with our Grim Lavamancer, to be honest, having a relic on the board. One plays that Chromatic Star. I can take the chance to counter that with my Spellstutter Sprite. So might as well. Just have another one, a Chromatic Sphere as well. So not the most impactful counter, but get value where you can. Also, we kind of want to kill him as quickly as possible. I'm going to counter this scrying. Have another Tron piece, but he also didn't have a land drop, so countering his scrying is actually going to make him miss a land drop here, which seems pretty good for us. Certainly buys us some extra time. Conclave is really nice here because we can combine it with the Scion. Plays Stirrings, manages to find a power plant, and finally makes his third land drop into a Pyroclasm, which makes me glad I didn't play out the Sign of Una earlier. So we're going to be able to drop that out. Combine it with the Fairy Conclave, we've still got a fairly good attacking force. We'll actually drop another Scion here. Decided to attack for 4 rather than playing out the second Scion. I think it seems like a reasonable decision. I mean, you could go either way on it, I guess. Another Pyroclasm, so I'm quite glad that didn't play out the second Scion and just got in there. So it's still in pretty good shape. Managed to draw a Tech Edge, which is really nice. He does actually get the Tron together. It'll only be for one turn, hopefully. I'm getting in with the Conclave and play on Scion on the end of turn. Could have played Ven to get in 1 extra point of damage, but prefer trying to play around these sweepers that he's got. So we're going to be able to get into 4 here. We're done down to 5. Got Bolt. Just going to destroy one of his Tron lands with a Tech Edge now that he's played out 4 lands. Turns out it wasn't a particularly good choice as he has another Urza's Mine, but it doesn't really make any difference. At the very least, he's not going to have Tron on this turn, and should be dead next turn, so seems like a good play really. He ends up Pyroclasming, but still got a Conclave, plus the 3 damage from the Bolt will be sufficient to finish him off. So it's game 1. Move on to game 2. So we're open now, we've got Burst, Magma Jet, Spellstutter Sprite, Spell Snare, Island, Fairy Conclave, Misty Rainforest. Not too bad, a little light on creatures, but I suppose we've got the Conclave, we have got the Spellstutter Sprite, so got stuff to do with his hand. But maybe not the most exciting gets Tron. We do have Blood Moon in the sideboard, which is a card we'd like to see. But decided to run with this. Maybe should have mulliganed to try and find something a little bit better, maybe a little bit more aggressive. Or a second Spellstutter here. Fortunately, our opponent's stone, so Spellstutter's not going to be particularly good against that. I'm going to run out of Spellstutter anyway, just so we can start dealing some damage, and hopefully it'll make our second Spellstutter a little bit better. Could have come out with that Chromatic Sphere, but I decided against it. I feel like I want to counter a scrying or something that any spell that tries to help him find the third Tron piece, because we definitely don't want him doing that if we can help it. And we're out of Grim Lavamancer here, back for 1. I'm using Ghost Quarter to blow up our Conclave, which is kind of annoying. He also puts Tron together. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with it, so for us. Builds up his Oblivion Stone. I'm getting 2 damage with the Lavamancer before it dies. Pass the turn. He goes for a Surgical Extraction on my Spellstutter Sprite, so I might as well play out the one in my hand. counter the surgical extraction. That works out reasonably well for us. Fortunately he has a pyroclasm, but we do have the spell snare to deal with that. What we can't deal with is this worm coil, which is pretty bad for us. And he also fetched up an Eye of Ugin to put on additional pressure, and I think that's pretty much the game. Yeah, not really a whole lot we could have done about this worm coil, and not really much we can do from there. We did reasonably well, but I think perhaps we should have tried to look for a better hand against this Tron deck. So on to game 3. Oh, I had to mulligan a hand with Blood Moon in it because I think we were light on lands or something. I can't quite remember. We ended up sticking with this hand again. It's not a particularly great hand against Tron, so maybe this wasn't the best of keeps, but it's reasonably aggressive. We might be able to get a turn 3 click out, which is pretty good. Not a bad card against Tron. I'm just going to play my Snapcaster here. It's kind of losing value, as it were, but I'd rather just get aggressive with him and start hitting him for 2 every turn, as early as possible. Fortunately, he didn't have the second Tron piece when he to go with the expedition map, so got off there a little bit, but still want to be aggressive. Drop Blood Moon, which is awesome. I could have just played that out straight there, but decided to instead run out my Vendilion Click on my turn. I mean on his draw step. Reason being that Click costs 2 blue, and if I play Blood Moon I won't be able to cast it unless I draw another basic island. And he's obviously not going to be able to get Tron online next turn, so I feel like I can give him this next turn and then drop the Blood Moon. It's not like he can counter it or anything, so I figured I might as well get the click on the board. I was going to play on his draw step, but then I thought, knowing that he has Pyroclasm, etc., felt I was better off playing the Vendilion Click on the end of turn. I mean, it doesn't give me quite as much value, but I think this works out better, as I really want to be able to smash in for 5 and then have the Blood Moon pretty much destroy his hand. So he fetches up his Tron piece. I could have countered it with Spell Snare, but I actually don't really care now that I've got Blood Moon. I'm going to be able to look at his hand. Oh, that was brief. Turns out he did have a Pyroclasm in his hand, so I ended up picking that. He had some Tron pieces, if I remember rightly, and I can't quite remember what else he had. Nothing particularly relevant. I think probably some green spells that obviously was going to be difficult to cast. I suppose he does have the Chromatic Spheres, etc., but it's going to be difficult to cast once we use the Blood Moon. I think he also had Oblivion Stone, which isn't particularly fast when I'm going to be up when I drop the Blood Moon. Also find the second island, which is pretty good for us, but it wasn't guaranteed. So drop the Blood Moon, keep up this blue for Spell Snare in case he does have the another Pyroclasm, which it turns out he does. Fortunately we were able to counter it. Going to be able to hit for 5 again, put it down to 8, and I think we should be able to finish him off next turn. Stone Rain's one of my islands, which isn't particularly relevant. Yeah, that was another card in his hand, but again, not particularly relevant. Would have been if I only had one island, I suppose, but luckily we had slightly more than that. We'll play out the sign here, and then we're able to attack for 4, 5, 6 next turn, plus the Burst Lightning is lethal. So, would have been 1 off lethal, but we do have Burst. So, yeah, that was the game and the match against Tron. Worked out pretty well. Blood Moon's obviously pretty awesome against Tron. And you have a good number of creatures to put some pressure on them. Not always an easy matchup, but I mean, if you draw your good sideboard cards against them, then things will go a lot smoother.